The scariest question for anyone trying to increase their height is simple: is it too late? Have the bones fused? Is the window of opportunity closed? Here's the biological reality. Once the growth plates, technically known as epiphyseal plates, fuse, skeletal growth stops. No amount of stretching, supplements, or diet changes can alter the skeletal structure after that point. However, if those plates are even slightly open, the body retains the potential for height increase. This video explores the 5 biological signs and physiological indicators that suggest growth plates are still active. These are based on the stages of human development, body proportions, and genetic potential. By assessing these factors, it is possible to gauge where the body currently stands in its growth trajectory. To understand these signs, one must first understand the mechanism. Long bones do not grow from the center, they grow from the ends. These ends contain cartilage that eventually ossifies, or hardens, into solid bone. When that cartilage is completely replaced by bone, skeletal maturity is reached. For males, this typically occurs between ages 16 and 21. For females, it is usually between 14 and 18, but biological age often differs from chronological age. Sign number 1 is the distal to proximal growth pattern. In human biology, growth tends to happen from the outside in. This is why adolescents often experience a phase where their hands and feet appear disproportionately large compared to the rest of their body. The biological sequence usually follows a specific order. The hands and feet grow first, followed by the long bones of the arms and legs, and finally, the spine and torso. If there has been a recent increase in shoe size, but height hasn't significantly changed yet, this disproportion is often a strong indicator that the long bones are preparing for a growth phase to catch up. Conversely, if the body is perfectly proportionate, the major growth phases may be nearing completion. Sign number 2 involves physical symptoms often associated with rapid skeletal development, commonly referred to as growing pains or Ausgutschlatter disease. Medically, this sensation often occurs because bones grow faster than the surrounding muscles and tendons can stretch. This creates tension at attachment points, particularly just below the knee or in the heels. While pain should never be ignored, experiencing a deep ache in the long bones or tension in the tendons during periods of rest can be a physiological sign that the skeletal structure is actively lengthening. Sign number 3 focuses on the Tanner stages of puberty. Pediatric endocrinologists use these stages to track development. A key indicator here is the progression of secondary sex characteristics, specifically hair growth and voice depth. Facial hair and chest hair are typically characteristic of the later stages of puberty, specifically Tanner stage 4 or 5. If a full, thick beard is present and the voice has completely settled into a deep register, it often signals that the body is nearing the end of puberty and growth plates may be fusing. However, if facial hair is sparse or only present on the upper lip and body hair is minimal, the body is likely in an earlier stage of development, suggesting the peak growth velocity window is still open. Sign number 4 relies on genetic probability and midparental height. While genetics are complex, growth patterns often run in families. If there is a significant height gap between a son and his father or a daughter and her mother and the adolescent is still in their mid-teens, the body is statistically likely to attempt to close that gap provided nutrition and health are adequate. Furthermore, a family history of being a late bloomer, where a parent grew significantly in their late teens, suggests a genetic predisposition for delayed skeletal maturation. This means the growth window may remain open longer than average. Finally, sign number 5 is the only definitive medical proof, the bone age assessment. While physical signs offer strong clues, the only way to know with 100% certainty is through a medical X-ray of the non-dominant wrist. Doctors look for the presence of a dark line between the bone ends. This dark line represents the radiolucent cartilage of the growth plate. If the X-ray shows a solid white bone with no gaps, the plate is fused. While this requires a doctor's visit, it remains the gold standard for accuracy. If these signs, large extremities, physiological tension, early pubertal stages, or genetic potential are present, the growth plates are likely still open. However, having open plates is only half the battle. To maximize this remaining window, the body requires specific inputs: adequate sleep for human growth hormone production, sufficient protein intake, and essential minerals like calcium and vitamin D. A complete guide on the optimal nutrition and sleep protocols to maximize height during this open window will be covered in the next video. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to access that information as soon as it is released. Comment below with your current age and height to track progress. See you in the next video.